All right. This is the part two of that trading, options trading to survive the AI apocalypse. Um, and to start, I just want to address the elephant in the room. Like, I'm not good at public speaking, and like, this is the last thing I want to do is make videos where I'm like in front of the camera. I like to make videos. I love editing videos, but you can notice I'm usually behind the camera. So, but here I am. I'm just trying to make it more personable, and so rather than be too free-formy like I did last time and just like ramble, which I probably still will, I got some cliff notes I'll try to stick to. Um, but yeah, uh, another part of that is I don't really care about views or anything. I don't care what you think about this video. Um, as I'll get to later, is the only reason I'm addressing this. The only reason I'm sharing my trading plan to my solution for surviving unemployment and all that stuff is so that I don't feel guilty down the road. I'm just doing this to prevent feeling guilty later for not telling everyone. But if no one listens to me, I don't care. I'm trying not to cuss. I don't care if anyone, you can even criticize me. I don't care. Um, so all right, just to summarize what this video is going to entail is I'm going to address my trading strategy in more detail, because last time I was too vague. I left it till the end and I was really vague. Um, I was trying to give you the general idea of what it was, but I kind of rambled about the situation and not my game plan. So I'll go into my game plan, my trading strategy, more detail, more nuance. And then I'm also gonna um, well, that's about it. But before I do that, I do want to address another thing. I want to clarify, correct myself. Last time, my optimistic ending was that we would be able to have humanoid robots, or computerized agents, digital robots, digital agent bots, go out in the workforce and do work for us, and then in our name, and then us citizens would get the income from that. Even though it was low, we'd have enough of them to add up to what we were used to, or at least close to it, and everything would be cheaper, so it would all work out, right? But someone was correct to correct me that the math, it doesn't math. I was going off my hip on that one. I didn't check the math, but the total was going to be like, if everyone of, just say, working age, everyone of employment age were to get 3 robots, it was something like 10, what was it, $10,000 trillion. So if everyone got one, it would be like $15 trillion, or sorry, $15,000 trillion. I forget what comes after trillion, but everyone's more familiar with trillion, which comes after billion, right? So if our the U.S. current debt is 36 trillion for scale, I know even that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but that's something that we can kind of try to wrap our mind around. Is our current debt is $36 trillion, so $15,000 trillion can't work with that. And that economic model just doesn't make sense, no matter how you flip it around. Okay, so that was something I wanted to address. I will have an optimistic ending just like last time, but I have revised. It's a totally different optimistic ending that I feel more comfortable. It's something I'm actually personally involved with, so like I just feel more comfortable sharing that one at the end. Okay. All right. So my trading strategy involves options trading, and if you don't know, most people trading already know. It's one of the it's the I think it's the most risky trading, like high risk form of trading, the most like gambling. if you treat it that way. Um, but my specific strategy, my specific technique is the least gambling. Ironically, it's the least gambling with method of trading. Um, I guess one of sorry, it's one of them, right? So what makes a trading strategy, whatever type, gambling-ish, is if you haven't done your homework, you haven't back tested it. Back testing means you've simulated your strategy, your algorithm of condition based algorithm, or your trading plan. You haven't simulated it against historical um, market behaviors, stock behaviors. That's called back testing. So if you haven't done that, if you don't stick to it, if you don't set out your rules and then you don't follow those rules, you get tempted by the news cycle, or you get tempted by just maybe like I used to do during the last 4 years of trading. I was constantly trying to put the puzzle together. So I'd watch the news and I'd be like, oh, this major shift is going to happen in this sector, or this I just follow the news, and it would just like lead me off into these things that I would be like, oh, I've put the puzzle together and I know this is going to happen, and so these stocks are going to behave this way because of that. It works until it doesn't, so I guess that you could do that, but the you'd have to put up some safety measures. So that's another. Uh, my method is like eliminating as many of those. Well, okay, like I said, you could do that, but you have to have some safety protocols. I'm gonna go. That's part of safety protocols is another. Let's just say that right now. Like safety protocols is another part of your plan that you have to have and you have to use. If you don't use them, you'll get your face ripped off. You'll be as they say, left holding the bag when the stock goes down. Your safety protocols are something that is like a safety net. So like think of an acrobat. They're taking these high risk maneuvers, but they have a safety net. So if they do fall, they only fall so much. They're not going to hit the ground and get hurt. Trading stocks has similar mechanisms. They are called stop losses. Anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail. I do want to go into more nuance in this video, but not too much detail. Okay, and then another reason it makes it not gambling-ish is you stick to the plan. You have safety protocols. You don't. What else? The sustainability. Well, okay, that's not really gambling-ish, but and that's it. And so I guess that's it. The sustainability of it's another thing I think I'll get to, but not now. What when I think of gambling, I do think of like emotional stimulation. Like you get the highs and the lows. Gamblers get stimulated even when they're losing. Um, I can kind of feel that in the last 4 years. I was doing trading without any rules. I was discovering techniques and I was trying them. I was trying to like test out techniques and then trying them, but um, I wasn't very sophisticated, right? I was just trying them and seeing what it felt like, and so I would feel those rushes, the highs and the lows. So I know that applies to trading, just like it does when you go to the casino or you're doing blackjack, whatever. Um, That's another thing of that list of what makes it separates it from trading or not is when you're following a plan and it's all rules based, basically an algorithm, of rules. It eliminates the. It doesn't give you the opportunity to impulse into this or that. What dictates whether you do this or that is does it does your rules tell you can what you should or shouldn't. That's all. So you're just following. You basically become a computer. It's like I was saying, like in the first video, like there's nothing. It's kind of boring. There's nothing like exciting about it, except when when you see your bank account consistently go up over time. That's an exciting thing. You can use your money to go do exciting things, but don't use the trading to as a source of excitement. So that's it. Like if you eliminate your the emotional element out of it, and that makes it not gambling. Um, As far as I know, in gambling world, there's very few ways you can do that. There are ways, and so I just want to mention that the one that I know of, I don't. There might be more than one, but the one way I can think of that I've heard of is in that game blackjack, the card game blackjack. That's a prime environment for counting cards, right? So if you can count cards, you have that savant gift of counting cards. You can basically it's basically you can win over time. Like you'll take losses, but overall you'll win more than you lose, or you can like bet higher at certain times to so your overall wins are better are guaranteed to be better. As long as you stick to that. Again, like you have to stick to the counting cards. You can't just like do it half the time and then expect to win. Like you have to do it all the entire time you're at the table. So when you have a plan and it's vetted, it's proven, you've back tested it against simulations, and you stick to it, then that's basically the same as counting cards. So my strategy, which is through the OVTLYR school of the OVTLYR University, that YouTube channel OVTLYR is where it's all based of loose, it's based on that. It's a form of counting cards, but for the stock market. That's one way of thinking of it. So if you're counting cards, you're not gambling. You're just sounds exhausting to do. I wouldn't want to do it. I don't think I could if I tried. But with this, it's all just like I'm using computers, and I'm using computers on computers on computers to shave off the time that's required to do it. So that kind of that brings me to that thing I was mentioning, the sustainability. So if you are constantly, like, this is what I found over the last 4 years, if you're constantly watching the news cycle to get your edge, your advantage, it works until it doesn't, but it's also exhausting. Like it was fun I mean, I like the news. I like putting puzzles together, especially with geopolitical stuff and companies, and it was entertaining, but then it was like, okay, I go up and I come back down to, on my portfolio. It wasn't consistently going up. It was like it was swinging, and so I just put in like 3-4 weeks of consistently watching the news and putting the puzzle together just for it to come back to where I started 4 weeks ago, and it's exhausting emotionally, and just the time and energy you put into it, just a time sink to have to watch the news all the time. So if you're just doing a rules based and you're doing it, and I'm telling you, it takes 20 to 30 minutes when it's not, even that's when it's not automated, right? It uses their AI software, their AI based software to like scour and manually filter to find they get you on the target of which stocks, however many stocks are meeting the conditions to trade. It gets you like 60%, 70% there, and then you have to go in manually to pick the correct options trade, whichever one matches the conditions that you need for your rules, and then you have to and that's it. And so it's like it breaks it down to 20 to 30 minutes a day. If you automate it, you could probably get it less. Well, you can get it less than that. I'm guessing 5-10 minutes a day. So that's very sustainable. Either way, you automate it or don't. That's very sustainable. Yeah. So that's the relationship to gambling. That the reason I haven't probably got a lot of feedback on it so far is because, and the stuff I did, the handful I did, they were very skeptical. Totally get it. Totally get it. So I just wanted to address that because that's the gambling aspect. It's because that's probably why everyone's so skeptical of it. As far as the difficulty, maybe that's another reason people are skeptical is the difficulty surrounding the perception of trading sounds difficult, especially if it's the options trading. It's like the advanced trading, right? I would say it's like basic math, multiplication and division, and using Excel spreadsheets. But there's no advanced math. If you want to automate it, yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to code or use AI to code. Vibe coding, as they call it. your prompt coding. That's what I'm going to do because I don't know how to code manually. That, I mean, yeah, if you want to take it from 20 to 30 minutes down to 5 to 10 minutes a day, that's advanced stuff that you might have to use your brain for. But if you just want to use their software, to OVTLYR software, to filter and to get you on the target, that's just using, you know, a filter on their software. And then to set up the trades, I mean, there's no advanced math or anything. You just have to study. Like, that's, you have to apply your brain for however long it takes you to get through the learning curve of studying. They have tutorials on how to use the software, and then they have now classes, as in, like, you know, the class of 99, class of 98. Shit, I just dated myself. That's what I mean. But like the graduating class, they have 2 of them so far. One is called Alpha, OVTLYR University Alpha, and the other is OVTLYR University Bravo, which is the latest one that is currently going on. They're just about to wrap that up. If you watch both of those playlists on their channel, they're basically repeating themselves. I think the Bravo has like very little difference than the content-wise. Is you know, the algorithm that they present is not much different than from the Alpha to Bravo. There's just like some tiny little evolutions. I would say watch both of those first, and then go and watch the free tutorials of how to use. There's like 100 slides, call them slides, that teach you how to use the software. And I think there's even there's a free trial for the software, so you could do all of this for free, and then decide at the end of the free trial, like, oh, it's not for me, you know, for whatever reason, it's not for me. Then you haven't lost anything except for some time invested. So, the other thing on my list is I'm not a shill for these guys. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the only reason I'm doing this is because I know for a fact if I don't tell a soul, and I get later down the road and I'm successful at it, I'm gonna feel guilty. I guess I could at that point tell people if the guilt gets to me, but I'm just getting out ahead of it. The only reason I'm in front of the camera is I know I'm gonna feel guilty later if I didn't tell anyone. So, yeah, I'm not getting anything for this. There's like you can get if you sign someone up, like a friend, you get signed up on OVTLYR, you get like some money perk or something. I'm not even gonna bother with that. Like, I have no interest in doing that. Like, I can make that amount in like an hour trading. So, all right. So that was okay. Clarifications. We're talking about the risk, the high risk of options trading. I think of the high risk of options trading. Think of it as like when you learn to options trade. Think of it as like you're going to flight school to learn how to fly a jet airplane. If you want to learn the basic way of trading, you know, swing trading, which is a level below options trading, think of that as like going to flight school to learn how to fly a single engine prop plane or something, you know, with less complications. Jet plane is a good analogy because there's more instruments to track while you're flying. You know, there's more stuff going on when you're learning to fly it. If you treat learning this technique that I'm presenting give it the same respect as you would if you were going to flight school to learn to fly a jet, you're in good shape. Different stakes, you know, your physical life's at stake if you crash a jet, or that other people's lives are on board if there's passengers. When you're options trading, your life's not at risk, but your life savings at risk. That's why I like that analogy. Is like, yeah, your life savings could be at risk if you do it wrong. But just like when I see a jet fly overhead, I'm like, cool machinery, but also like I think, you know, like, shoot, like, I didn't cuss. Shoot, that person is doing something I would not think of to do in a million. You know, I wouldn't do that, you know, until I went to school. Maybe I do want to go to jet school someday, but until then, like, I'm not going to get in the jet and just do it. You know, I'm not, and you know, I'm not going to do it. It's too, you know, because I know I'm not trained. So give it that respect. if you're gonna do it. Don't just nilly-willy. Don't just half-ass it. All right. Okay. Here's another thing: is I'm not gonna help. I'm doing this, and I am. I'm open to helping people. I'm not gonna help everyone. Um, there's a reason colleges have barriers to entry because not everyone's a good fit. So, for example, if I know your character is low emotional regulation, or if you're gambling, have a history of gambling, um, or or if you lack initiative, you start things and you don't finish it. I'm not going to waste my time on certain people, right? You can do it on your own. I mean, you can do it without my help, so you don't worry about that. If I'm not going to help you, you just help yourself. Maybe I judged you wrong or something. Or if maybe I don't know you, I'm not gonna. Um, but luckily, OVTLYR has a whole online community on their Discord. So you sign up for them, you're gonna have this whole community of thousands of people that can help you. I got multiple irons in the fire, so my time's limited. So don't worry if I'm not gonna help. Don't worry about it. There's people that can help you on their Discord. The you gotta have stick with itness. If you're gonna do it with me or without me, you're gonna have to have self discipline, and you know you're gonna have to set yourself up. With a whatever works for you. Like for me, I got like I said, a lot of things I'm trying to juggle, but like I set aside. I figure out what's the best time I can work on this. For me, it's like after coffee, on my days off, before noon. And then at noon, my brain's getting a little tired. But that's like it's a sweet spot for me to learn this type of dry, honestly dry, boring material. And then after that, I'd take a break, and then when it changes from light to dark in the day, I'll hit it again for another couple 1 or 2 hours. And then so that works for me. So find what works for you, but don't just half-ass it. Don't just like wing it, because then a whole year will go by and you haven't learned it yet. So just um let's see. Oh, okay. I will feel guilty, but there's a limit to how guilty I'm gonna feel if you guys don't listen to me. You don't believe me or whatever. Like that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If you don't lead the horse to water, you're gonna feel guilty. But once you lead them to water and they don't drink, that's on the horse. You don't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty if the horse doesn't drink. Um, I'm not trying to. I'm not. Be skeptical, man. Trust me. I'm one of the most skeptical people, and it's served me well. So I'm probably not presenting myself either. So there's a million crackpots online when it comes to trading, and plots and schemes, and shills, and so yeah, trust your gut, I guess. All right, so the I'm going to go into some detail on the trading strategy itself. It's through OVTLYR. OVTLYR is a company that Christopher Uhl made. He is a very successful trader who was in finance, advising first for companies, and then he got mentored by several of the best traders. I guess, yeah, there's kind of think of it. I don't want to ramble. Okay, I'm not gonna ramble. My head, I have Asperger's, and so my head is full of clear thoughts. They're clear to me. Like when they're in my head, like the puzzle. Like call them. Think of them like puzzles. I have like all these puzzles solved in my head. To communicate those to people is a different story. Like this is like you have a puzzle, and it's how do you how do you go? How do you begin? Like that's a hard part. Is like how do I organize my thoughts into a thing to like to communicate them in what order? Where do I start? You know. Anyway, that's why I ramble. Um, that's why I wrote my notes this time. Okay, so for the strategy, I would say start by going through. I already mentioned that, but start by going through their tutorial slides. There's 100 of them, and they go pretty quick. You have the software open, and you. I don't think you have to be signed up or pay. You don't have to pay for it. It's to follow along with have the software open. I don't think you have to pay for it. I guess you have to sign up for the free trial. So wait till you're ready to sign up for the free trial to go through the slides because then it'll make sense because that's what they're talking about. Tells you how to use all the different features in the software. That was why I gave up for months, is because I opened the software and I thought it would be more intuitive, but it's just like the user interface just wasn't intuitive. Like I didn't know how to draw stuff or change settings. That it just tells you how to use the software, settings and stuff. And then watch the Alpha Outlier University playlist they have on their YouTube channel, and then watch the Bravo. I'd say just it's not going to hurt to watch, and then you'll see the commonalities and just repetition as far as the content. Okay, here's another thing is, so they're going to present you basically an algorithm, a set of rules and procedures, protocols that work, that they prove that it works. Like they show the proof that it works. But they do give you some wiggle room. So there's some amount of wiggle room. What I mean by that is like you can tailor your plan. So you come up with a plan, a trading plan, your own algorithm. It's like a snowflake. All the snowflakes kind of look the same from far away, but if you zoom in, they're all slightly different. But there's definitely like some ingredients in the algorithm that you'll notice are just like you have to stay within this lane. There's definitely specific lanes and rules that you have to follow. But I'm not doing a good job of describing it, but just say in short, there's some wiggle room. So like maybe your work schedule you can tweak the time of day that you go in and set up your trades and manage them to fit your work schedule or your lunch break. Personally, I'm going to do mine during my lunch break, 12 to noon to 1, because the market closes at 1, and that leaves me an hour. I only need 20 to 30 minutes, right? Remember, but that leaves me an hour to close my manage my trades. What else? I don't know. I mean, once you get into it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's like slight variances on the rules, so it's not like a hard and set thing. Oh, and you're definitely not going to follow their trading. Some of these trading gurus online, they just follow me, like just do the trades I do and you'll be fine. It's not set up like that. It's more of a teach you. Oh yeah, there's it's kind of like a teach someone how to fish rather than just give them fish. It's like that. So it sets you up with how to build your plan and follow your plan, and then adjust it yourself over time. Like I said, you're back testing. You're vetting your plan. So you can tweak your plan. Like you can evolve it over time. You can tweak it, but each time you tweak it, you want to back test it. You want to prove to yourself that line goes up over time and stuff. You tweak one variable in your plan. You tweak one setting in your plan. I mean, and you back test it, and you could find out, all of a sudden either it flat lines or it goes down. You're gonna want to know that before you start using that change to your plan. So it's safe in that way. Boy, I mean, I could go down the rabbit hole by heart of all the different specific details of the plan, the strategy, the technique that is behind all this. Maybe that'll be a part 3. But practically speaking, like for the scope of this video and knowing my audience, it was like most of them have no trading knowledge at all, so I'm just be talking Greek to them. And if you're interested, you're going to look into it, you're going to watch the slides, and you're going to watch the university playlists, and you're going to figure it out real quick what those details are. So it's a waste of time for me to go into the detail right now. So but boy, I eat, sleep, and breathe. I've been eat, sleep, and breathing this stuff, so it's like pretty easy to do. Yeah, I mean, okay. My next subject I'm going to go to is my game plan. But I guess one general thing they'll end on in the specifics of the trading strategy itself. In general, it's taking that risk, that the high risk of options trading, and it's making it work for you. So the options trading is basically you have a matrix. You have a matrix of a spreadsheet of different, like, it's like a, first you pick the time of day, how the days to it expires. Okay, okay. I better be careful. I don't want to go into detail here. In general, it lets you leverage your win ratio to maximize your win ratio and minimize your losses. So it has these safety measures, these like safety protocols involved. So as soon as your stock starts going in the wrong direction and losing, you immediately cut that off. Even if and you just emotionally detach from that. So the next day, you don't sit there and watch it the next day goes up without you and you freak out. Just you emotionally detach and let that one go. But then also at the same time, if it's winning, there's a way to let it win. Just let it keep going. And so you minimize your losses, and there will be losses, but you minimize them. You cut them short as soon as they break form. You cut them short, and then your winners just grow as long as they can. There is a limit. There's options trading is like expiration based, so there's whichever one you pick, it's going to have some expiration date, and so you have there are ways to let it. You basically like get to these like checkpoints, time checkpoints, and before it expires, and you're like, is it doing good? And if it's doing good, you roll it into a different options trade. So you like, and each time you do that, like, so each time it's going up, you roll it into a different separate. You switch the options trade to a different one. And each time you do that, you're taking money off the table, you're taking risk off the table, and it's still continuing to be. It's still allowed to continue to win if it's going to win. And at some point, it's either you will run out of time and you'll just say, all right, that was a good run, right? Or it'll go the opposite direction on you, and it'll hit that safety net I was mentioning earlier in the video. Basically, it's triggering a sell, and so it'll you'll just get out of the trade. So before you lose everything you just gained, the rules will tell you just get out of the trade. So you have all those wins still. I think that's it. That's what I want to mention. Is basically this strategy is taking this high risk thing and then like just turning it on its head and making it work in your favor. Win loss wise, it's like 60% wins, 40% losses. But because it's leveraged like that, your profit ratio is more like 90 to 10% of the time you're losing, and 90% of the time you're winning. I guess that's one way to look at it. So it's more nuanced than just like a win-loss ratio. You're gaming the system, and so that's why it's like, well, anyway, okay, staying on track here. All right, so moving on to my game plan. We got a cat that wants to make a cameo, but all right, stay in focus here. So in general, my game plan is I know in the first video I mentioned forming a team that's oriented around joining the trading competition. Well, it turns out I learned that the trading competition, which is called the U.S. Trading Championship, that's the one that OVTLYR is going with because it's options based. Like not all trading competitions are created equal. Some are teams based. This one is not. You can like write your name, so it's individual based, and you can write your name, and you can like next to it you can say I'm part of this team, but it's not technically, it's not it doesn't care about your team. It's just for funsies. The other thing about it, but it is option. It allows you to use options. Spot trading is when you're just is what I've been doing the last 4 years. It's not options. It's just like you buy stock and it either goes up or down, and you get out or you don't get out, and um, that's spot trading. And depending on the time duration that you do it, it's either day trading or like from a minute to a day is considered day trading, or it could be swing trading, which is a day to a year, and then investment trading is long-term trading, which is years. You can hold a spot position for years. With options trading, like I said, it's expiration based. So you're gonna say you only have so many options in options trading. Like it's probably, I think one of I forget, but it's like maybe 40 days is like the longest you can actually hold. You're allowed to hold an options trade. So it's basically it's like I guess another form of swing trading. But you can do very short term options trading too, which is like a minute to a day, right? Um, that's not what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing more with like um, the day to a more like a week to a month duration is what this strategy is tailored to. But anyway, to the competition wise, that's what I would use in this competition. But one of the big barriers of entry to the competition, which was a bummer to learn, is it is a $50 pony up. You have to pony up $50,000. I said $50,000 pony up. So I don't have that kind of money to do it with if I wanted to. If I had that money, I would, because I'm not worried about losing money during the It's a year long, right? So you're trading the whole year, but the competition organization is recording your wins and losses. I'm not worried about losing. It's just I don't have that kind of money right now. So, yeah, most of my money that I trade with is wrapped up in retirement, which I can't touch till I'm 59 without a penalty. So, and then a portion is I'm able to take out, but I just don't have enough in that part I can take out to do 50,000. So that kind of takes the team thing element off the table. So it just reduces that to like a group, a club. So as far as a club goes, for now, I did find a meetup. There's a new meetup group in Portland, Portland Metro Trader Circle. They had one meeting last week. I missed it because I was working. So I'm gonna plan on just going to those, and I invite everyone to go on Meetup.com and find Portland Metro Traders Circle, and join us. I don't know when the next. I don't know when the next meeting is. I just I told some people I knew about that, but now everyone knows. So hopefully a full flock of people come in. It's not based on OVTLYR. It's just based on like everyone and their own style. Like you can just learn about what everyone's doing for their strategies. About half of them were male, half were female, half so far, and half are doing algo trading, which is the automated trading. That I'm going to be. That's my focus is automating it. Yeah. So I don't know. As far as the team, I was excited about the team because as far as engineering, I've always had the most success on teams because there's that sense of camaraderie and rallying behind a common goal. Um, the sense of accountability you get from people expecting you, even if you're not like directly working on the same thing. They, you say you're going to do something on a certain time before a certain time, and you get it. So you're compelled to get it done and be accountable for that thing on that certain time by that certain time. I just felt that would be a good. Uh, it would be a good um, environment to learn all this stuff in, so everyone in the club stays motivated and can share, their struggles. But like I said, the Outlier Discord, you can share your struggles there and get unstuck by on your own. So you don't need to rely on the club to get you unstuck. I think that'd just be more for like, just motivation to, like, hey, we're all in this and we're all getting through this together, and um, kind of thing. But we can all do this on our own too. It doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, hopefully see some of you guys at the meetup for Portland Metro Traders Circle. Uh, um, I guess that's it. Okay, that was it. Okay, to end the video on a high note, optimistic note, my new revised optimistic ending is well, okay, we all lose our jobs. That's kind of baked into all this whole premise. There's no way around that. We all lose our jobs, and we are just kind of floating in limbo, waiting for world leadership to bail us all out or give us at least a freaking plan, right? Kind of lacking just even just a path forward from leadership at this point is lacking. Okay, so here we're just like trying to make it, trying to hack it. What has become clear to me as I've been helping these homeless shelter communities personally is that tiny home villages are the best solution, the most successful solution to homelessness. All right. So you just go gangbusters with tiny home villages. Um, I'm personally working on ways to use recycled plastic to make them on the cheap. To right now, there's a contractor company, Tough Shed, who's making them out of wood. Composite wood materials. Normal housing materials, and they're making them for seven. Or they were $7,000 each, and they brought it down recently to $5,000 each. And then add the electrical wiring and add the AC units. So whatever, you're around 6,000 per tiny home. Okay. Anyway, that eh, I'm I'm having fun with the engineering challenge of how to make them cheaper. We're shooting a group of mine. A group I'm with is called Recycled Living in Portland, and we're trying to figure out how to use recycled materials to get the cost down. Where I'm going with this is that seems to be the way of the future. Is we all have to downsize, and we all have to let go of this materialistic lifestyle. Some are doing better at it than others. Some have big homes, others are renting small apartments, small homes, rooms. Just let's clear the table and start from a new, fresh mindset. The solution, the optimistic solution, is intentional living communities. So we're all living in tiny homes in communities with like different themes. So I mean, it could be it could, like, one intentional community could be based on agriculture. One could be based on manufacturing. One could be based on meditation, or a combination. Like one community could be like 7 different themes. You know, it doesn't matter what. And if your entire country was filled with these intentional living communities of all different shapes and sizes, with the only then you can pick and choose. It would be this huge menu that you can pick and choose. Hopefully, in your location, your geographic location, where your friends and family are, you can find one that works for you. Um, that's the way I see it. So, if you're really hung up on materialism and having a big house and lots of flashy stuff, lots of personal belongings, this might not work. This might not seem optimistic for you, but if you're willing to keep an open mind and just kind of value what's really important in life, not being alone because you're part of a village, you're part of a community, that support that comes with that. Even if you're all strangers, there's a support that comes with that. I'm part of a cul-de-sac. I live on a cul-de-sac in a very comfortable house, but and I'm not best friends with all my neighbors, but we all know each other. We have an email list, and there's one, um, this couple that kind of manages the email list and gives us updates. So I don't know them, but it's so comforting to know they are there, and I can reach out to them if I need something. If I'm getting broken into, I just go next door, and like I don't have to sit there and introduce myself to my neighbor. We just kind of get the ball rolling, and I get the support I need when I need it, or if the power goes out or whatever. So so I'm living it. This is basically a cul-de-sac is basically an intentional living community, on a very rough, in a very rough sense. But some cool ones, like maybe okay, for me personally, I like to manufacture. I like to make stuff with my hands and use tooling and equipment. So the one I'd pick would probably be, and I like agricultural settings. I'd probably pick a farmy one, like where there's a workshop on a farm, and we sit there and tinker and fix the equipment on the farm, and maybe we even branch out and make some products that there's a market for, even in the future world that we're talking about. Maybe some products that are meaningful or useful. That's what I would like. And then we sit around the campfire at night and share stories and just be there for each other. Maybe have some communal potlucks every once in a while. Um, it doesn't sound all that bad. It sounds different. I wouldn't have a big house anymore. I'd have a tiny house, and maybe I'd spend because of that. Maybe I'd spend more time in the workshop than I would in my tiny little house. um, but it doesn't sound all that bad to me. So that's why I think it's an optimistic solution. Is intentional living communities of very affordable tiny homes. Um, Boy, I could go on with that line of thinking, and I got some fun versions of tiny homes that are like mobile and uh, very self-reliant. Off, kind of like survival trailers. But maybe that'll be another video someday. I guess. I guess that's it. All right, peace.